Okay, this is the last in the 6-week series of classes, and I'm going to quickly go back and review everything we've gone over for the past 6 weeks. And then I'm going to basically go through some demos, going step by step, and two of these demos are in the drawing book that Diane and I wrote, so that you can actually review the steps that I'm going to show you in the book. Okay? So the first week we went through lines of action, large lines of action, small lines of action. And then the first week and second week we talked about forms on the lines of action, both large and small forms. This is really the guts of the Reilly-technique. Okay? You have to get this part right before you can proceed through the rest of it. So you try to get your forms as close to the original abstract shapes you're seeing in the figure as possible. And remember, you're looking at abstract shapes. You try not to look at the figure as a figure, but you try to look at it as a series of abstract shapes that are interrelated and overlapping. The key there is to essentially use the right side of your brain, not the left side of your brain. Any way you can get to seeing those shapes as abstract, you want to do. For instance, you'll see me a lot of times close one eye, because binocular vision will basically deceive you into seeing things that really aren't there. So a lot of times when I'm drawing the figure, I'm doing it with one eye closed. A lot of times you see me squinting way down. What I'm doing when I'm squinting is I'm basically looking for the value patterns. Again, it's the abstract shape of the value patterns. I get rid of all the detail by squinting. Okay, it's the same thing with the shapes. I get rid of all the detail. So you'll see me do these tricks, and again, it's to essentially force myself to use the right side of my brain and just look at the abstract shapes. Okay, then we talked about negative space to position small forms like the legs and arms. Okay, so negative space is also important, particularly in positioning forms on the human figure. When an arm is outstretched or a leg is outstretched, is essentially to get the spacing correct between the arm and the body of the two legs. And then we did a week on value, talking about value from light to dark, and using a limited number of values between 4 and 6 to be able to do a full figure in 45 minutes. And again, I was using tone paper to pretty much cover most of the mid values and essentially remove that as part of something that I'd have to put in. Then we talked about edges and line width. We did a whole week on foreshortening, and then we did another week on varying the edge and about using edges to indicate bone and flesh of the human body. And then last week, the final thing we covered were details, which are the last, it's like frosting on the cake. It's really the last thing you really want to be concerned with. We talked about the details of the face, hands, and feet, and then we went into even the details of the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. Okay? So, tonight what I want to do is essentially, I want you to put it all together. And so I'm going to give you plenty of time to do that. And I'm going to do 2 demos. And then I'm going to start from scratch and build each drawing up as using the rules of the Reilly-technique that we just talked about. Okay, both of these demos are in the drawing book. Okay, I'm going to do the back pose first. And again, hopefully I can get it done in 5 to 10 minutes, so I won't waste a lot of time doing it. Like I said, it's in the drawing book. Okay. So, again, I start with a line of action, and then I just start stringing my shapes on. Remember, for the back, I'm using a triangular shape, and then I go into the box, which is a pear shape. Okay, so there's my line of action. Basically, it's following the spine to a certain degree. And then I could actually put a small action into this leg, put a line of action for the shoulders, and for the hips, almost in the same plane. Put small actions in for both arms, and now I could actually start building up. I have the large forms. I put the large forms on the figure. I could actually start building up some of the smaller forms. So I actually start building some forms on the arms. Put a mitten shape in for the hand. Mitten shape in for that hand. Put some small forms in for the leg. Small form in for the foot. Notice I haven't indicated it, but I've actually placed this arm with essentially this negative space. Okay, and I'm actually placing the angle of this leg, I actually use this negative space to place it. Okay, so now I'll go through I'll start from the top and go through the whole figure again. I'll actually start putting some of the edge work in and some of the value patterns. Hard edge for the shoulder, flush, hit the elbow hard edge. Okay, as the arm folds under, again the light is coming from the, above and from the left. As the arm folds under, it's going in the shadow. So I hit the hand. I actually put a few small forms in for the hand, for the fingers in the hand. The back, again, hard edge initially. Again, this is the upper part of the scapula. Again, I'm following, I see a slight hard edge for the spine. I go into the rib cage, slight hard edge, then flesh, soft edge, hip bone, hard edge, and then I hit the buttocks, small of the back. We split the buttocks up. The neck in. Again, back, this arm is facing back. Begin, I start shoulder slight hard edge. And the elbow hard edge, again, it's folded under. As it folds under, it goes into shadow. The hand, the hand is a shape for the fingers. Remember the cone shape I put on the fingers, and I can actually split these up later on. Okay. Now the key to the value pattern here is there's a nice cast shadow coming from this arm. Starts out with a hard edge, very dark, and then slowly blurs away and then rolls over the bottom. Okay, I got a turning edge on this leg, hard edge on the knee. Again, because she's seated, I got a dark, essentially cast shadow under the buttocks. Her hair is also dark. Her face is turning away from the light, so it's slightly in shadow. Again, scapula, there's a slight shadow here. And again, I have some slight turning edge shadows on the arms as they roll away from the light. Calf, I'm making a hard edge. I want this leg to come forward a little bit. Again, bone on the front of the leg. Again, this is mostly going to be in shadow because it's getting away from the light. And again, she's standing on essentially the ball of her foot. So I see the little toe, basically. All right, now I could actually put you in a bracelet on her wrist. I could actually put in some of the details for the fingers. Darken the hair a little bit more. She has basically her hair in a bun. Put a hard edge on the forehead. You can see her eyelash. There's her cheekbone. Okay, so essentially I'm going to stop here so I don't take up too much more time. But the point is I essentially followed the procedure that we've been outlining for the past 6 weeks. And I basically, in each iteration, and as I go through, I added more and more, in essentially the order that I showed you. Okay, cut next.